Welcome back. It's been Core Digest, and we're looking at the $9.3 million and the jet seized in South Africa recently that has been moved into that country by two Nigerians and an Israeli. Questions and questions and questions, and this word has been. And you're still on questions, and I'm going to ask you this, Okay. The United Nations Arms Trade Treaty was signed in 2nd April of 2013, and it was meant to avoid this roadside purchase of arms. And it seems like from the initial picture that everybody is looking at now, it seems like it is the same roadside purchase of arms that we're getting involved.
No, but I said so.
With the explanation. Yes.
I said so.
How do you think this will affect our stand or the law, this treaty that was been signed by the United Nations? We're part of that treaty.
It's a new law, but if indeed that is the case, I'm interested in hearing what National Security Advisor will say. I'm interested in hearing what the National Intelligence Agency would say. But it's just like human rights, whatever human rights treaties we have, conventions we have signed to and all that. It still doesn't stop some governments from doing torture. They still do, to get information to, they do that. But it doesn't make it right. If that is the case, honestly, it just makes us, I think right now, what just happened sort of makes us a bit of a laughing stock, because in this age and time, it's crude. I mean, if you were to walk into a shop, let's not even go too far. If you were to walk into a shop, say Harrods, for instance, in London, and you were to bring out cash, even £400 or £500, people will look at you twice. Even when I say it's too much. You understand? Nobody carries that amount of cash anymore. Whether to go for purchases or whatever, you do transfers. You have your central bank, you have the banking system. So it's not tidy. Concerning the issue of arms, the reason why it is important to regulate even the movement of arms and all that is, if these things are done on the ground, how do you account for them? It is necessary to say how many arms are in which territories, with which people, and all that. It's important to be able to trace where every single piece of armory or armament is. So there are records, there are statistics. When you go and buy things on the ground, you are negating that, and it's difficult to trace and to control, okay? And what makes this even more complicated is that if it's government to government above board, and you can say, okay, it's the government that is buying it. There's accountability all the way and at the top. But if it's not, how can you be sure that some of it may not be diverted, for instance, for other purposes? Because then you cannot trace it. There's no accountability. So, more questions and answers.
Okay, will this attract the United Nations a kind of sanction or a punishment or a kind of bit to put in the line on that, since we've gone against the treaty?
I don't think so. And the reason I say I don't think so is that it's early yet. The government didn't say bought it directly. The government said it is aware. Why do I say so? You may come to me as a contractor that you can supply crude oil or diamonds. Let me use that as an example. I need diamonds. You can go to the conventional market to buy it, or you may go to a non-conventional market and get blood diamonds, for instance. The invoice I'm getting is your invoice, not necessarily that of the company. Okay? And so, to that extent, then you as a contractor, you are liable for whatever transactions you. I've given you money, go and get me this. That's what I'm interested in. if government says it's aware, it means, fine, we give money to Mr. X or Y or Z to buy us XYZ arms, you know, and ship back. You know, people abuse things. Sometimes because you have a government contract or the government asks you to do it, sometimes you want to break laws. The guy should be fully accountable for whatever he has done. The government may have given him money to get arms. All governments deal with arms dealers anyway. They may not purchase direct. There are arms contractors. You know, that's their business. You know, so they get these things on behalf of the governments. It's not necessarily that government buys directly. There are contractors for arms. Okay, so they may have given him money. How does he want it? He probably wanted it cash, and they give it to him, or I don't know how he was able to get that anyway. And rather than wire it, again, maybe he wanted to save money. I'm conjecturing, okay? Maybe he wanted to save money. He decided to go through, take a private jet, and go, instead of buying it from an official source, he's going to buy from an unofficial source. These are possibilities, and we can't rule them out. Okay, but the facts will emerge in the days to come.
Now let's look at the political angle to this. Already it's been hitting the political system in Nigeria. The All Progressives Congress is asking the president to tell Nigerians the truth about everything that is going on with regards to this $9.3 million seized.
It's okay to say the president should tell Nigerians the truth, but the president doesn't necessarily have to be the first to speak about everything. If these jobs have been delegated, he needs to get a feedback, if indeed he's in the picture. Yes, maybe we say we agreed that this should be done. What happened? How? Then based on the facts he gets. There's Freedom of Information Bill now, so we can't hold information or hide information anymore. Sekibo from the Senate, the chairman, I don't know where the defense, I'm not sure it's committee right now. But he sent for the people concerned. Let them come and explain to Nigerians. That is procedural, that is okay. You don't drag the president to every matter. It is serious enough, I agree. But let those who should speak, speak. And let him have the final say. That's presidential. That's how it's done. The president cannot comment on every matter. You understand what I'm saying? Let those responsible comment. Okay,
now is this an issue that is supposed to see all politicians rallying around to unravel, or everyone taking his own side? Is this one of those issues?
I think it's important to understand the facts and stop politicizing things. If this thing was meant sincerely to curb the insurgency in the north, sincerely on the line, you can be sincere, but you can be sincerely wrong in your methodology. But if it was indeed meant for that, I'm sure we all want that thing to end. Okay? If it will help the military fight, then the thing is to show understand and say, yes, the intention is good, but the methodology is bad. We don't play politics with things like that. You may say, oh, but you could have done it in a more neat way, if there is sincerity on the part of government. But you also have to be sincere in asking. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. In finding out. And which means we need to wait and hear from all the parties concerned. Then we can judge how sincere or otherwise. But it still doesn't exculpate those who carry that cash. Government may not be liable if indeed it has played its part by hiring a contractor, and the contractor through whatever means decided to get it through another means. Then he alone should bear the brunt for it. But we have to wait and hear the facts.
Now, so what positions should politicians be taking at this point?
At this point, You can call for a full investigation. That is in order. Okay? You can call for public hearing on it. That is also in order. Nigerians deserve an explanation. That is in order. We need to know what happened because it's a national embarrassment. We need to know what happened. We need to know, find out those who are responsible. And if there's a need, bring them to book. It's a national disgrace. It's a national embarrassment, rather. You know, so that's my take on that.
Now, would it have been different if it were not South Africa?
At this stage and at this point, it's a little hard to say. It could have been any other country. Maybe the South Africans were a little more vigilant. Or maybe they chose deliberately not to turn their nose the other way. It is also not impossible if you are dealing with a brother country, but unfriendly country, that you may even have reached an agreement, and then at the last minute they just mess you up. It's possible. You know, what do you do in a case like that? You begin to see how you can do damage control. Maybe if it was another country, maybe if it was a friendly brotherly country, a friendly brother country, or whatever, however you want to put it, maybe they would see it but pretend they do not see it. And say, okay, that's our contribution to your fight against insurgents.
No,
you know what I mean?
Now let's look at this. It's this way. At a particular time in the fight against this insurgency, a lot of nations came to say we're assisting Nigeria to stop this. Mostly world powers. And everyone showed interest. We're ready to cooperate. We're going to, and if we need arms at this point, wouldn't it have been easier with all those cooperations coming from this countries?
Let's even start from the help. Can you feel the impact of the help of any of these countries? Tell me what they have helped you do. All the noise they made at that initial stage. Can you point to one thing that you can say you have benefited from those countries who all claimed they were going to help? In all honesty, as a Nigerian, can you point to one? You're the one asking questions, I know. But we're talking as Nigerians. Can you point to one?
Now, some argue that it is as a result of our insincerity.
Say?
Some argue that it is as a result of our insincerity and shoddy way of doing things, and that was why the practical aspect was withdrawn by most countries.
Okay, fine. So there was insincerity.
Even though no one has publicly said we've withdrawn any support or assistance.
The question I asked you is, have you felt an impact?
No, what I was asking is, we have
right
an
now,
instance
right
where
now, the
all these
Americans are going
countries
to
came
fight. Right
to
now,
talk about this.
Right now,
so
the West is going to fight ISIS. You may say because some of their citizens have been affected, but don't forget that even the insurgents have killed some. I personally visited the site in Sokoto where that Briton and the Italian were killed. The very toilet where they were murdered. I saw it with my eyes, not second party report. Okay? So some of these countries have suffered casualties as well. Okay? So, but they're sending people to ISIS. This is selective.
No, but if we need arms at this point, why won't we just approach them and get it?
You won't get it like that. These are not things you get.
They've offered assistance, so why won't we get it? We have the money to purchase them.
I had a term yesterday in a meeting I held with someone I met, very interesting person I met yesterday. He's from the IT sector, industry, and he talked about plug and play and plug and pray. There's some equipment that are plug and play. You put it immediately, it begins to work. But there are some that are plug and pray. Okay? This is one of such plug and pray situations. And if you need immediacy, then you want plug and play, not plug and pray.
No, but why wouldn't we get the plug and play if all these nations are saying we're ready to assist you, Nigeria? We are ready to provide assistance.
Fine.
No, why don't we get the plug and play?
Assistance to what level?
Or are we the ones not asking for it?
No, they have said. They have said they would assist us with intelligence. That much I know. They have not said they will assist us with arms. Okay? However, there are the government has also placed before a National Assembly a request for $1 billion. That has been politicized. People have said no, they want to use it to prosecute 2015. How can you fight insurgency under circumstances like this? How can we bring politics into everything? Must everything be 2015? If you can't approve $1 billion, approve something or insist that it must be something that all parties must be involved in to ensure accountability, probity, and judicious application and use of for the purpose for which it was meant.
Yes. Now the government say it is privy to the availability of $9.3 million.
Yes.
So why don't we approach these nations with the $9.3 million as we await the $1 billion and say we need these arms?
Which nation now?
All the nations offering assistance.
No.
Britain, United States, France.
Like that. No, it's not. I say there is plug and play and plug and pray. You understand? These ones are not plug and play. You don't send for those equipment and get them immediately. It's not done like that.
With the assistance they said they're going to offer?
They said they will offer intelligence. They didn't say they will offer you arms.
Okay, what about, does intelligence not mean the intelligence on how to procure this?
No,
yeah, it's also intelligence.
Let's not turn this into a joke.
No, but it's not a joke, but it's also intelligence.
No, that's not intelligence.
How to get this is also intelligence.
No. They went with their drones to Zambia and saw nothing. So what are we talking about? Things that, when they came, it was like, oh, this thing will end in 1 month. We were accusing our government that they were too slow and nothing was happening before. The Americans came, the British came. What happened? Nothing has happened. Nothing has changed. If anything, now that we've taken our destiny into our own hands, things are even a lot better.
Why hasn't anything changed when they came?
When they came, nothing changed when they came. Why? We thought, we had great expectations. We expected that, oh, it is Uhuru. This thing, we would see the girls, and they'll be rescued in a week's time, in 2 weeks' time, in 3 weeks' time, in a month. Several months down the line. Is that the case? Of course not.
But why?
It just tells you that the government is doing well and that it's not entirely their fault. Because if the Americans could do it, if they could do better, they would have done it. If the British could do better, they would have done it. They came. They joined us. We joined forces. Was it any better? The answer is no. If I'm to mark that score sheet, then obviously it means that it's not entirely the fault of the government. That they're trying their best, that those ones can't do even better under the circumstance. So if there are moles, if there are people within that are frustrating and all that, then it means even they, if they were the ones fully in charge on ground, under those circumstances, they could not have done much better. That's what it means.
Okay, but why was it difficult for us to get to them, to ask them to give us assistance with this military hardware? But before then, let's take this call from Alao. Alao, welcome to Core Digest. Hello?
Is Alao there?
I think we seem to be having issues with the audio there. No, we were asking if we have people ready and have made themselves available, and these are nations, we know they have this equipment, then why do we have to go through tier 1 services?
If it's not tier 1, it could have been tier 10.
when we can just say, no, we need this as urgently as, and we have $9.3 million, can we get this?
There are armed industries, there are countries, there are contractors. It's not necessarily a government-to-government thing, even though governments must be aware. There are arms contractors. You give them money, they know where to procure these arms, and they bring them to you. They could have been tier 1, tier 10. Okay, maybe the practices of the Israeli is what should be in question right now. You know, get us arms by whatever means possible. And the guy decides to go to tier 1. He could have gone to tier 10. He goes to South Africa. He could have chosen to go to Russia. Okay, he carried it, took the money in cash. He could have gone through the banking system. You know, these are choices. Are they the right choices? Maybe, maybe not. But under the circumstances, you can't claim they are now because of the way things have gone. But maybe if it had succeeded, it would have been hailed as a good. It would have been seen like good choices. But now that everything's gone awry, obviously, we would not think that these are the right choices at all. So we have to look at the issues, look at the facts one by one, and then before we form a holistic picture about everything, we need to scrutinize the Israeli, we need to scrutinize the company. And remember, the Israeli was the only one with a combination to the locks of those boxes. He was the only one, which means he was the only one probably who knew that there was cash there. He was the only one who could open those boxes. He alone knows, you know, where he was taking it to and how he was going to do it. He, I believe, was a contractor. But we'll have to wait and see. Is the government aware that $9.3 million is going to be taken to buy arms? Yes, from what they have said so far. There's a $9.3 billion they are aware. Was it meant for arms? They have agreed that yes, you know, they are aware of that. Do they know the Israeli? They have not denied him. Okay? But the other things now will have to be the methodology. These are things that will have to be under scrutiny.
Okay, now what do you expect the Senate to dig out by Tuesday when they sit?
When they sit, some of these questions I've asked now will have to dig out. And the reason why it could not have been through other means, they would need to answer and tell the nation. Why did you have to do that? Could you not have got it through other means? Would it have in any way impeded national security if this thing had taken longer? But as you can see now, sometimes shortcuts are the longer routes. You know, what probably they expected to get in a short time, now that money has been seized, it's going to take even longer. Long routes sometimes, long legitimate routes, long as they may seem, may end up being the shorter routes. But these are the benefit of hindsight now, you know, because of the way things have gone.
So do you think you would expect a possibility of the Senate quizzing the Israeli who is saying
I don't know if the Israeli, I don't know if
it's
in the country right now. South Africans are conducting a criminal investigation. If they are conducting a criminal investigation, I expect that he'll be in their custody. Okay? The plane has been released, but if it has been released, then maybe the crew is back, or maybe the Israeli, and whoever accompanied him on that trip are answering questions. So I don't know if he'll be back to answer the question, but that's something for them to discuss at diplomatic levels.
All right, I think we'll wrap it up here. Thank you very much, Victor Okai, for coming to Core Digest, obliging yourself to be here. Viewers, it's been Core Digest, and we've been looking at the $9.3 million that has been seized and the jet in South Africa, the pressure that has mounted. The Senate said it's going to meet with some security chiefs to actually find out the details of what transpired. Thank you for being with us on Core Digest. Hope you'll be with us again tomorrow for another interesting discussion. I am Martins Dixon. Join us and enjoy the rest of our programs after this.
Core TV News, expanding your view.